Um, Welcome, everyone. For people who have joined us before and for people who are still joining us, a very good morning, afternoon, or evening to one and all from whichever part of the world you are joining in. Today, in this live session, we are going to explore the power of AI and how it's changing the way we interact with systems. But before we dive into the heart of our discussion, allow me to introduce our speaker for today. Joining us is Varun Bhartiya, the visionary leader behind Encircle Tech. Varun is an inventor, technologist, entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience in 3D design and visualization automation. He is known globally for his contributions to the AEC and manufacturing industry. After working with industry giants like GE and 3D PLM, Varun founded Encircle Tech in 2012 to automate design workflows. He is an IIT Madras alumnus, a father of two, a skilled badminton player, and a Times 40 Under 40 awardee. Welcome, Varun. It's a pleasure to have you here to share your expertise in AI and AEC. So, without any waste of time, let's dive right into today's exciting session on ChatGPT and how it can change our industry. I'm sure the audience is curious with for this exciting topic today.
Thank you, Snigdha, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Before we jump into the topic of ChatGPT, let's briefly talk about AI in our industry. You must have heard about different kind of statistics in one way or the other about how AI is contributing a whole lot in global economy, how it can increase the productivity by 40%, reduce cost in different ways. But in spite of all such projections and numbers, I feel a lot of companies were thinking about AI, but were not taking it seriously for a long time. Then came ChatGPT, and now suddenly it has taken over the world by surprise. For the first time, people thought that there is an alternative to Google. For the first time, people thought, wow, this does not look like I'm talking to a chatbot. It feels more human than ever before. Now, everyone and every company has renewed interest in AI in their field and especially ChatGPT. We want to make use of ChatGPT more and more because people have high hopes with this technology.
Yes, I agree. Suddenly, with ChatGPT, we see that a lot of non-technical people from every industry have started utilizing the power of ChatGPT.
Exactly. So now let's look at how we have been communicating with each other and the way we have been interacting with our personal devices. It started with pigeons and ravens taking messages from one city to another. Then we started writing letters and emails. Mails, and then it was fax machines, and then came emails and phone calls. Earlier, we were using hands to interact with all such systems. Then came Google Assistant, Siri, and Alexas of the world, which allowed you to communicate with system using voice command. But still, something was missing. Have you wondered what is the difference between such a digital assistant and ChatGPT? After all, both of them answer questions. Both of them have natural language processing. So, what do you think? There's a big difference, and why ChatGPT is such a big thing?
I'd like to ask my lovely audience also, what do you feel about the two? Although we were already discussing the same while you guys joined, but if there are more opinions, please do plug in your responses in the chat box. We would definitely like to see. So we have already seen that some of the people are already using it technically for their as their coding buddy. Some people are using it on their daily lives and all. Uh, Personally, Varun, I feel Alexa and Siri psychologically helped me deal with my playlist without touching my phone every time I wanted to switch a song, or for that matter, sometimes assisted me in dealing with my smart appliances. Whereas with ChatGPT, it's more like I having an on-the-go content buddy to help me, even with my professional tasks, who doesn't just scrape information for me from the internet, but also do put it together in a meaningful piece of text that I can use further. Like we already saw people are using it for coding and other stuff.
Exactly. But let me explain some technical differences, Nigda, between the digital assistant and ChatGPT, or in other words, a large language model. To list a few, architecture of both of these are very different. ChatGPT is much more complex architecture. According to some sources, ChatGPT has like 1.7 trillion parameters, much more than digital assistant. Digital assistants try to excel in commands, but ChatGPT focuses more on conversation. What does this really mean in non-technical terms? It means that digital assistants can't have a conversation and remember the context of what you asked in the first question and what you ask in subsequent questions. For example, if you ask who is the Prime Minister of India, it will easily answer Narendra Modi. But when you ask how does he look like, digital assistant can't understand the context. They look at every question like a command, almost one command at a time. Another difference is digital assistant is usually not creating its own version of response. Digital assistants are more trained to give you an answer based on what is already on the internet. So essentially it is quoting some other source and reproducing that same exact language from that source, whereas ChatGPT is authoring its own version of response. So it is very good at summarizing and giving you a concise answer by combining data from different sources. It sometimes gets a bit more creative than what we want it to. An expert call it as hallucination, like AI is hallucinating on something.
Yeah, digital assistants have never grown beyond a few commands, like saving my playlist or calling someone for me and so on. All digital assistance technology, I feel, has been stagnant for quite some time.
Exactly. Some companies have failed to generate really revenue from such assistants and eventually reduce their spending on such technology. Like I said, people now have an alternative to Google search.
Well, Varun, there are many companies talking about and selling different applications of ChatGPT, and I'm sure people over here who have joined us today for this session are with me on this. Perhaps a new application gets published every day. Can you share your thoughts on this?
Sure. So there are many companies creating and publishing applications on ChatGPT, and every day we feel like we can use many of these applications. But the focus of today's session is not about which application is good or bad, and also not how to use off the shelf ChatGPT with better prompts or something. Today's session is about how you can use this technology on your platform or your product. This is for companies who already have a platform or product and want to add capabilities of ChatGPT on their platform. Today, we will talk about some use cases of ChatGPT for your platform, then talk about ChatGPT and its alternatives if you're considering to integrate a large language model for your platform. We will also talk about some limitations of ChatGPT, what it cannot do.
Perfect. That makes the talk very interesting for the product companies and platform companies. Audience, I would definitely like to request all of you over here. If anyone who is attending this session today is looking forward to adopting ChatGPT on their platform, please feel free to share on the chat and we will connect with you one on one post the webinar. Or if you have any queries to understand how ChatGPT can or this whole session can be beneficial in your business, please feel free to write to us. We are already sharing our email ID. It will help us a lot to understand your requirement or business requirements better. So, Varun, coming back to our discussion, let's start with the first question. Why integrate? Why not
So,
use off-the-shelf chat GPT service? Why can't you do that?
so Snigdha, off the shelf ChatGPT is good at general knowledge. It, I mean, it has been trained on a lot of generic data available on the internet. However, it cannot answer anything specific to your content. So, what if you have a contract document running in hundreds of pages and you want a quick summary of something from this document? You can do keyword search, but then you still need to combine different references of that keyword in the document to get a summary on about any topic. If you want ChatGPT to read something and then summarize the understanding of that document for you, like you need to feed data to that system. Imagine your platform is like CDE. You want someone to read through all text content and summarize something for you. All such use cases are possible only when you integrate. Traditional search engine fails when search results have 5 plus references and you need to read through each of those references and summarize something. ChatGPT can summarize those multiple references into one answer, which makes the process much more efficient.
I think that completely makes sense. Audience, please feel free to share your thoughts as well in the chat video. We will definitely like to pick them up as we move ahead in the session. We all know that we still rely a lot on the PDF documents. Some sources suggest that 42% of our project data is still in PDF files. Varun, do you have any demo for us so that me and our audience today can appreciate this even more?
Sure, let me show you a quick demo of what we built using ChatGPT. So what you see here is you can upload your own version of PDF files, and as you can see, it's a simple non-disclosure agreement. And when you ask questions to ChatGPT based on this document, it will come up with a clear, concise answer. Even if the references are in different location, it will come up with a clear, summarized answer for easy and faster understanding. You don't have to read through the actual document to get a better understanding of it. Let's try another question here. So what are the termination rights? It gives you again similar references from your document, that what is it, what are the termination rights, what is the period, what is happening after the agreement. Next question. Now we also are exhibiting in Autodesk University. We had again a very long exhibitor reference manual. Again, very simple. We ask a question and it would give us information about inclusions in 10 by 10 booth. We can be more specific about some questions, and it will answer all such details on the fly. So for this particular question, as you can see, it is giving us data. Your keywords may be different. You may not call it exhibit, you may call it booth, you may call it something else, and it would still generate the answers very relevant for you, very much like someone human is understanding the document and trying to answer these questions. So what does this demo really show? It shows that it is able to consume data that you have provided and then almost like mimic or try to understand the document. And now it has started answering the questions in the context of this document for your data, not something that is generic on the web.
That really looks fascinating, Varun. But before we move on, let me take a moment to appreciate how integrating ChatGPT can revolutionize workflows in general. But can you share a bit more about how this integration will make AC industry stakeholders' lives easier?
Certainly. In construction industry, or for that matter, any industry, you're constantly trying to ensure all project constraints are addressed or not. All the risks are transferred to another vendor in the chain or something like that. So essentially, you are comparing two different contract documents, summarizing a contract document, or converting contract document into checklist or actionable items. I think such things are possible with the help of ChatGPT.
That's something to look forward, I'm sure. And I can already see this integration changing the game for any and every function. I'm already excited to see what's next in the store. So, my next question that some of us have is, what if the data is not in PDF files? What if the data is present in database? How can ChatGPT consume that data, Varun?
So I think the all data that you have in your database can be very easily converted into JSON or XML files. ChatGPT can consume such data and build knowledge graph based on such information. So should you really convert data like numbers or categories or really all of that and then feed it to ChatGPT? You can do that, but ChatGPT is not the best option for already organized data. You will realize that power of ChatGPT is when you feed natural language data like comments, reviews, RFI comments to ChatGPT and then ask questions about the same. Let me show you what do I mean in a quick demo. So we picked up reviews data of a simple ice cream shop and fed that data as a JSON to ChatGPT. Let me show you the document. Yeah, so this is the JSON file. You can see comments from different people, rating, and their names. Now, very simple questions like average rating or something, any simple system can do an average and get you that. But when you ask about which customers are happy and specifically what are they complaining about, you don't, it doesn't just give you references of I am unhappy or dissatisfied. It actually gives you a concise summary of different users who are unhappy and exactly what are they complaining about. So for example, one person found an insect in mango ice cream, and that is our number one JSON review, that found an insect, not happy. But essentially, like I said, it is summarizing the information for you. Another question: how many customers are happy and what do they like? Again, summarized answer, staff, ample sitting, hygiene, and so on and so forth. It is good at giving you an answer concisely from all the references that it can find. So essentially, uh, feed in the data that is in natural language, uh, and then ask questions out of it. Just before ChatGPT, there were other things that has happened, like word cloud. What it does is it analyzes frequency of every word that has happened or in the entire text, but then it doesn't give you really which word and in what context it is being taken. Is it happy or people are not happy with that service? uh, so I think this is the power of Chat GPT. You can feed data from your database to Chat GPT and then ask more summarized questions to it to move things faster.
Great. Can you give us some examples of how a platform can use this?
So most product companies now have like an active community forum. But when someone is trying to find an answer to specific question, user will have to go through multiple replies, comments, and so many people don't even get that actual answer. In my experience, I've seen some threads running in hundreds of replies. Some start even fighting with each other, or some start debugging, step by step debugging in the comments itself. You don't want your users to read through so much content. You want them to like get things faster in a clear and concise answer. So imagine you feeding all this community forum data to Chat GPT, converting that into HelpBot. Now HelpBot can start answering, understand everything on your platform and start answering questions like a human. So HelpBot is one example. Another similarly could be there's a lot of RFI data comments that get generated on your platform. You can ask questions about what are the important issues on my project, which people are angry about something or unhappy about something, and so on.
That's interesting. But Varun, what if I have data in database, but I don't want to feed the data to ChatGPT because of concerns about data protection? I'm sure we all face the same issue. Whenever there is data, there is also a security issue. What options do I have in that case?
Yeah, so if you don't want to feed data to ChatGPT, you can still utilize the power of ChatGPT. In such cases, you can use ChatGPT to convert natural language into machine readable query like GraphQL query or SQL query or anything like that. What we can do is instead of feeding the data to ChatGPT, we can feed the context or the schema to ChatGPT. This way, it understands what you are asking but does not need to consume the data from your database.
And where can this be used? And how can this be used? Can you please elaborate?
Sure, let me give you again an example. Recently, we've developed a Power BI connector for data exchange. Our team presented the same in Autodesk event. It was quite successful and a lot of people now have interest in Power BI. Now, the people using these dashboards are management level people who don't like the cluttered interface with a lot of filters, and if they have to go through something 10 steps to get at something. So we've integrated ChatGPT so management level people can ask questions in natural language that can be converted into meaningful queries in dashboard. So let me show you a quick demo of the same. So what you see here is a quick dashboard. We have 3D model, data coming in from that. And now if I ask questions like, please highlight insulated walls, what you see in the bottom right is it has converted the natural language into a GraphQL query and it has highlighted respective elements in the model. Again, this question is interesting. If you can pause at that. So this question is really, sorry, one step behind. Uh, Please show me doors from which queen size bed can pass. I mean, the chat GPT is using like a natural language of 1.52 feet could be queen size bed size, and any door that is larger than that is passing through the door. Another example, um, you might want to ask specifically about certain chairs. So this is basically designer manufacturer of those chairs, and it will highlight chairs from that specific designer and highlight that in the interface. I think you need to play the video. So again, this your natural language questions are getting converted into GraphQL queries, and it is in, I mean, you're interacting with the system in a natural, very easy manner. Uh, in an ordinary scenario, you might go through a complex structure of, okay, category chair, find this particular size chair, apply filter on it, and so on, which you don't want to do. I mean, just talk to the system and it is doing the work for you. And this demonstrates that even if you don't want to feed data to ChatGPT for protection issues, you can still utilize the power of ChatGPT and enhance the way in which you interact with the system.
That was really impressive, Varun. In fact, another survey showed that 86% of the executives think that data driven decision making is crucial for success. And while we are discussing, I already see people putting in a lot of chat comments in the chat that they are already finding these integrations very helpful, and people have a lot of questions. I hope the audience is getting their responses from our team. So many people are even looking forward to connect with you and Tarika and like encircle for their queries. So I'm sure this is going to bring a lot of value to any business for that matter. I think that can make Power BI even easier to use, and all these integrations for that matter.
Yes, I think that is the future. I think in future we will not be interacting with systems using mouse and keyboards. It will be more like a conversation. There are many possibilities since it will have different way of interaction with all kinds of data. You don't have to work with a lot of clunky cluttered interface. You could ask questions, and I mean, it would be almost like literally you're talking to the data.
The more I'm hearing, the more impressive it's getting. Now that we have seen the demos of how ChatGPT integration helps, I'd like to know if there are any implementation steps for this. I'm sure even our audience would be curious to know that. If yes, what are they and how much criticality do they hold?
I'm happy that this question came in your mind. Let me break some of these steps for you. So first is data pre-processing. You may have data in different formats. You have to prepare your data to so that you can feed that to ChatGPT. Of course, depending upon the size of your data, you may want to do additional things, depend on additional libraries like LangChain, Hugging Face, and other things, so that you can make use of ChatGPT and feed large amounts of data to ChatGPT. You may want to, second step, do certain level of fine tuning and ChatGPT to uh, set the tone of things, how much you want it to hallucinate or really be creative about things, or be very specific to what is in the document. And then you have to arrange for the full packaging so that the end users can actually consume your service. I'm sure, I mean, this is very short description of things, but as you get deeper into it, it starts to get very complex very soon. uh, I mean, as you will realize as we start playing with it.
Certainly, the implementations steps you outline seem essential for making the most of ChatGPT's capabilities. Do you think ChatGPT is the only option in the market?
Other good question, Snigdha. The space is constantly changing. Let me show you what options we currently have. Currently, it's Chat GPT. We all know about Google uh, is working on Bard. There's Llama 2 from Meta. There's Cloud from Anthropic. Now, most of them have a lot of similarities. Some are doing it, I mean, different architectures, but still conversational AI platforms. Uh, One interesting mention here is Llama 2, which is open source, free. You can host it on your service. Um, you can control the data flow. It will be on your server, so you are like most ensured that data is well protected. But on the other side, it's been only Chat GPT that is currently successful in the market, which everyone is talking about and curious, I mean, happy with the responses in general. So if you're looking to adopt right away, and you don't have a lot of data constraints, um, and maybe Chat GPT is a good starting point, but I would definitely recommend that we all keep watching this space, because there would be more models soon coming into this space.
Great, Varun. I already see a lot of comments in our chat which where people have also spoken about these alternatives. So yeah, I'm sure people are also trying it at their end. Um, Thank you for sharing this because honestly, I did not know that there are other options available in the market as well. I'm sure some of the people already know because I see them in the chat. But I think that brings us almost towards the end of our presentation. But before we end, some last questions from my end. What are some important limitations and challenges of ChatGPT? I'm sure we know it is doing great, but I'm sure with uh, that much of power, there must be some limitations and challenges to it.
Yes, another good question, Snigdha, and lot of people, I would use the word misconception, have this misconception that Chat GPT is good at everything and can solve any problem. No, it is not like that, at least yet. So ChatGPT is not really very good with numbers or finding patterns in numbers. So it can do a basic job, understand how is it progressing, not progressing, and everything like that. But if we are to create a dedicated model, ML model, feeding in all your numbers, it can do or generate better results that you can validate, customize, and do more, give you more flexibility. So just a contrast of this, it is not that great with numbers, but very good with natural language. Then if you are feeding in very large amounts of data, then direct just chat gpt won't help. You may have to use certain additional libraries, like I mentioned earlier, hugging face or langchain, to feed all that level of data to the system. It has high dependency on prompts, as some of you on the chat messages also are wondering how to give prompts to such a technology. But essentially, if you are looking to implement this technology on your platform, there are many finer details that you have to take care of. For example, how do you fine tune it for specific tone of responses? How do you control hallucinations? You want it to be creative but don't want it to be dumb as well. So what is that right balance? How do you set context for the questions that your users would ask? How do you optimize the cost? ChatGPT would cost you for input as well as output. So how does this all token system, cost system work out? Token size, how, what token size should you configure for your responses, and many more items like that. So if you are thinking to integrate the power of ChatGPT on your platform, please don't waste time in repeating the common mistakes during such integration. We are here, talk to us. We are happy to assist you so that you can quickly leverage this power of ChatGPT on your platform while leaving all that integration and planning to us for the implementation.
That's great, Varun. I already see people appreciating the functionalities and integration you have spoken about and you have taken us through in this session. Now, without any further ado, I would like to jump onto our most awaited slot of the session, which is the Q&A. Although I already see a lot of questions in the chat box, which are already being answered by our team, but I would still like to pick a few because so that everyone who is not being following the chat can also get to know about it. So, some people have asked Varun, I think Dipesh have asked, it would be great to know what amount of time it takes to learn on a piece of documentation.
So you can feed, like we've shown you in the demo. If we feed in the PDF document, it can really consume that in matter of few seconds and start answering questions based on that. Of course, this PDF document was just few pages. It may increase based on the size of your PDF document or the size of data that you are feeding in. But there are techniques to optimize that as well.
Okay. I would like to request my audience here. If you have any more questions, you can definitely place it in the chat, and we are trying to answer as much as possible. Varun, people have also asked about the prompts because we have understood that prompts play a very important role to get better results from ChatGPT. So people are asking what could be a better way to give prompts. And although our team has already mentioned that in the chat, but if you could also help us understand how could we get better with the prompts.
I think definitely all these steps are there, like it has been mentioned in the chat, be explicit, clear, and everything. But sometimes it becomes like you have to be creative, like you are talking to human. When you ask the question in one way, you don't get the answer. Sometimes you have to twist and turn around your question to get the right answer. I think that's the same trick here. You might be able to get a better answer if you ask, essentially give more context to chat gpt and then ask the question.
Okay. Varun, another question which probably we already have got the answer to, but Stephen has also asked if we have thought about reviewing contract documents and proposals to evaluate the completeness or grammar to ensure quality. But I think you already covered it while we were discussing the PDF integration. So yes, Stephen, that can be, of course, checked and programmed that way.
I think for grammar, there are a lot of tools already in the industry. I would say that check for grammar. But here it is probably more about understanding the contract. I do know an a use case where someone actually was running, like he had only one day for the meeting, important investor meeting or a prospect meeting, and he's looking to draft a quick contract MOU. He could just give that reference to Chat GPT, and a contract document was ready, which was 98% there, and some minor tweaks, it was ready to go. uh, but like I said, here it is about you feeding the data, and rather than you trying to understand through everything, you want Chat GPT to understand it and give you concise answers.
Okay. Although we are almost on time, Varun, I still see few more questions pouring in. So I'll just quickly just read it out to them, and you can just pick whichever you want to answer. And I mean, I can ensure for people for whom we could not take your questions at the moment because of the time constraints, we will definitely get back to you one on one, and we will try to get into a more detailed discussion. Also, once again, I would like to mention that we are again putting our mail ID in the chat box. So if you still have queries, or you still feel that you need to have a better discussion, which is very specific to your business or requirement, please feel free to write to us, and our team will get back to you. Uh, Varun, I see someone has asked about uh, what any view on hypertext on DIM.
Yeah, probably I'll answer that separately.
Okay. Yeah, I still see questions pouring in. So I think we already are on time. So for everyone who has put in their questions or comments, don't worry. We will have a look at them individually, and we'll try to get back to all of you individually for a one-on-one discussion. If you still have more queries and you want to reach out to us, please write to us at info@encircletech.com. And I think we will not be able to take more questions at the moment, but yes, as promised, we will definitely get back to you. uh, Definitely. Thank you, Varun, for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. It's clear that ChatGPT has the potential to redefine communication in the AEC industry, and I have no doubts about it. We are definitely grateful to have had you as the speaker today. The union of this ChatGPT with PDFs and Power BI dashboards reimagines collaboration, amplifies decision making, and propels project advancement. I mean, I'm sure everyone will be with me on this. Last but certainly not the least, I would like to thank my lovely audience today for joining this session. Hope you found this session insightful. We would love to hear from you and connect with you one on one to understand your business and how we can help you by collaborating. So, should you have any further queries or want to discuss your business specific solutions with us, please drop us a mail at info@encircle, as I mentioned before, and our team will definitely reach out to you. Thank you, Varun. Thanks a lot for today's session, for sparing this time and giving us this insightful session.
Thank you, Snigdha, and thank you everyone for joining today. I hope it was worthwhile.
Definitely. I'm sure about it, and I'm sure even the audience would agree with me. Uh, I mean, I'm sure we all found the session very much not just insightful, but also exciting, because it shows a great potential for each one of us, irrespective of the function or business we are into. So, once again, I would like to thank you, everyone, and have a great day ahead or a very good night. Yeah, do feel free to reach out to us. We have already shared our email IDs with you. With that, we will put the curtains for today, and it was a great session. Thank you, everyone.